Hey, what's up, Oblivion? Yes, not good morning. My stream schedule's all out of whack right now. I'm gonna go finish making coffee. I'll be right back. All right, we're back. All right, so we're ending the day with a stream instead of starting the day with a stream. So welcome to an unusual time of day for me, for streaming at least. We're gonna try to get some coding done on this project that I've been working on the last few days. Made some good progress last night. Hopefully can make some more progress today. Let's see, toggle focus mode. Dang, you're about to start a stream when I'm getting ready to go to bed. We must be on opposite sides of the world, man. Time zones are a weird thing like that, you know? All right. Hello, Exidium. I think that's how you say your username, Exidium. Actually, I could probably have the text to speech say it for me.
Exidium.
Exidium. Yep, I got it right. That's how I decide if I'm saying things correctly or not. I just have the I just have the text to speech say it. Good afternoon, Dimitri. Glad to see you too. Hope you're doing well. Yep, I'm from Zambia and it is almost midnight and I have to be up in 6 hours. Well, you better get to bed, my friend. Yeah. Wow, you said my name correctly, AI too? Look at us. Look at us. Let's see. Any of them? This will be terminal. Alright, let's make sure all my tests passed from last night still. Oh, I gotta reinstall the little GitHub plugin. Install. Hey, Wilo Gamer Pro. Yes, late stream. Yeah, my stream schedule's all screwed up right now because the early mornings, the area where my office is right now is where we're all kind of sleeping to avoid the bad weather at night. So waking up really early in the morning to stream's not a thing at the moment. Good to see you, Delusional Dev. I am doing well. Kiko, are we getting Arduino content soon? I don't know, man. I was researching that a little bit. I had asked in Discord. Someone had brought up that might be a nice alternative to Mark Rober's hacker pack. All I know is I want to toy around with some sort of hardware because I've never really done anything like that. Preferably something that marries like hardware and software, and just for fun and to learn a little. But I haven't pulled the trigger on any of it. Good to see you, Rockin' Brain. Good to see you. Good to see you, 187. How are you doing? Lilo Gamer Pros here. Sup, bro? Let's chill. I like that username. Sup, bro? Let's chill. That sounds like my kind of YouTube channel. Nice. I'm in the Discord. That's why I said. Oh, nice. Okay, very cool. Yeah. So you saw the conversation. Yeah, I was just curious about. I couldn't remember who said it last stream. Someone brought it up, and I forgot to ask and get the link from them. But it sounded like fun. I mean, Mark Rober's thing isn't terribly expensive, when you break it down on a monthly basis. But it's still, I mean, it still is some amount of money, Okay, all the tests are passing. So I think today what I want to try to implement is support for iOptions snapshot and iOptions snapshot and iOptions monitor, which are the configuration. A lot of people use the options pattern for configuration. I prefer it for configuration in a .NET app. And right now, I think my library only supports iOptions, because iOptions snapshot and iOptions monitor allow you to change the config and your app reloads it. So let me go and look at how that works. Well, actually, let's add it. I don't think I have a test for that. Yeah, I don't have a test for that. So let's add a test for this. Let's see. Fact, public. Let's look for. Why is my LSP not starting? Is it just taking a long time? Yeah, it's just taking a long time. Whoa, 4:30 stream on a weekday? Yes, 4:30 stream, yeah. I just finished up my day at work, and so I thought, well, I'll just hop online and stream right now. I didn't get to stream this morning. But I'll do it now. Hey, Debug Master, good to see you. How are you doing? Is anyone else stream buffering every 10 seconds? If it is, that's probably a me thing. I haven't had the best of luck lately with my stream connection. It looks okay for me in my streaming software. And I'm not sure what I can do to make it any better. Good to see you, Ryan. I'm glad I slept late then. Yeah, I didn't get it in this morning. I'm gonna try to make some progress on it right now. It could be my connection. I've got 3 additional devices that aren't on the network normally. Huh. Well, if it continues, I do apologize. Unfortunately for me, I'm not really sure. I just don't know what I would do to make it better. You know, I would totally try to make it better if I knew what to do. All right, go. We fixed that. What do I want to call this? Fix LSP issues. Mine buffered for a bit, but that was when I first joined and hasn't buffered again. Well, that's good to know. Well, some people are having luck and some people aren't, so we'll have to live with it. Delusional Dev. My invite to the Discord wasn't accepted until recently, so I wasn't able to link the Arduino starter kit. It looks like someone beat me to it. The one I got was the kit from Eliago that Neil posted. Sweet. Okay, cool. Are you in there now, though, Delusional Dev? If I ever don't approve your Discord app for some reason, just bother me, either in a DM or on stream, and I'll address it. Sometimes I just get distracted and don't check those things. That's my bad. Actually, speaking of which, there's actually a person in the Discord right now. There you go. Nah, stream fine for me. Cool. Well, thank you, sup, bro. Let's chill. I still can't get over that username. It's so good. It's so good, man. All right, I'm gonna add a test here for the options pattern. So the first thing we need to do is let's see. When called, it should support I options. Or I guess probably just, yeah, let's just do I options. Okay. So we're gonna need a services collection that's actually populated with stuff. Excuse me. Okay, and then we're actually going to have this, and we're also going to have var config. Equals new configuration builder. And we're going to do the same thing here. I'm actually going to do this. I'm just going to chain all this together. So we'll do add service secure config. And then we'll say add secure config. And then we'll actually move this up so that we can just take a action. So we'll come up here and we'll say this is an action of I secure config. Configure. And then secure that. And then we can pass this here as one thing. So this way they're related. Cannot convert from system.action to iSecure config builder. Okay, iSecure config builder. And then this can become that, like this. And this way, these are both using the same builder. Okay, and then in here, let's just do kind of the boilerplatey setup. So we'll say config dot use file storage. Are you complaining? No method overload for use JSON. Oh, yeah, because this needs options. So we'll say jump up here. Oh, let's do this. That's perfect. Tempter, we don't have one of those. So let's get a tempter. I need to remember, someone taught me this keyboard shortcut for bouncing back and forth between some places in NeoVim. If you double click the tilde, or the apostrophe, I guess, it jumps back and forth from, I guess, wherever you would last were. That's come in handy. I can't remember who told me that, but let's see, key bytes. Let's do just generate key equals new bytes 32 random number generator dot fill key then tempter. Why are you complaining? Oh, because you can't be static anymore now. NeoVim is a never-ending learning experience in a good way. Yeah, it really is. And it's one of those things that you can just keep iterating on pretty much endlessly. Like if you don't have anything you want to do that day, you can always sit down and tinker with your NeoVim config. Dimitri, tell me please, do you use AI agent in your workflow? I never saw that on your streams. I do occasionally. I don't. So the most AI usage I got over the last 2 years was Copilot as tab completion. I went very heavy down the rabbit hole of using Copilot just basically for really, really good tab completion. Used it a little bit in VS Code, like in the left sidebar. But I haven't ever really gone down the whole like Claude Code, Gemini CLI, Copilot. Like I haven't. What am I trying to say? I've experimented with those things, but I haven't really adopted them as part of my workflow. Just every time I've tried to do it for an hour or two, I always walk away feeling very like just bored and disconnected and very disinterested in what I'm building. So I'm trying right now, what I'm trying to do is I'm using AI very much as like, much more like a pair programmer, like ask it questions, have it review my code, talk about edge cases, but I don't really use it to like generate code very much. And I know that's not what everybody thinks you should be doing right now, and I'm okay with that. Very late stream? Yes, very late stream indeed. Yeah, I didn't get to stream this morning, so I wrapped up my day at work and then decided to go live. I finally finished the VS Code language grammar generator. It traverses the file system, reads each file, and extracts the function name and namespace, and dynamically creates the regex for syntax highlighting. Very cool. Parses the data into a JSON file, generates a manifest file for the project that I want to use for dynamic imports. I no longer have to manually edit the language file when I make changes to my project. Nice, dude. Congratulations on finishing that. It's always nice once you get something across the finish line. The Glancy. Sorry I didn't see you there, the Glancy. Thanks for the well wishes, man. Appreciate you. Oh no. My stream's just disconnected. Sorry, guys. This might be a theme. Looks like Twitch came back. It looks like YouTube came back. Sorry about that. All right, so we already have one of these. So let's do get valid base 64 key. All right, so what are we trying to do here? So we have the configure, and now basically we want to verify that if we were to use the options pattern, we can make this work. No, we're not going to use the local function. So then how do you do this? So I guess the first thing you do is you got to build your provider, right? And then we got to build our services collection, or build the service provider. Oh, no, we do that later. We do that later. But now we should be able to do well, I guess I do have a little bit of a chicken or the egg problem here. How do I populate configuration before the builder is built? It took 3 weeks of constant work just for a quality of life feature that only I will use. But sometimes those are the most fun things to build, right? Because you got exactly what you wanted and it makes your life better and it was fun to build it. So we are back, baby. We are so back. Okay, I guess I can mock it is what I can do. So encrypted JSON. Okay, let's do this. So I do need to think about this though. This doesn't solve the problem, but it does get me to the test I want to test. So first, let's do this. Oops. Okay. there's our config. Right, because in our program CS over here, this is what? Configuration. This is hanging off of configuration. And yeah, see, that's a little bit of a problem. Create application builder. .add configuration. What's this do? Configuration builder. That's a configuration manager. Add configuration. Now, what does this take? Using extensions configuration, I'm guessing. Takes I configuration. Well, now I'm completely second guessing what I did on the implementation of this. Configuration builder in .NET host model. You streaming later in the day now? No, just right now. My stream schedule's a little messed up this week. We're having some bad weather here where I live, and because of that, we've been hanging out in the basement at night or sleeping in the basement at night. And when I wake up, my office is like right next to where the basement is, so I can't really just like fire up the stream, at 4 o'clock in the morning with the rest of the family sleeping, next door. So I've been trying to find other times during the day to stream. Okay, so I'd have to use, if I wanted to use my current implementation, I'd have to use I need to use a different host. I completely agree with you. AI is just a helper, and sometimes it suggests complete nonsense. I immediately realize you're a true developer because you use NeoVim. Well, I don't know if I'm a true developer at all, regardless of what editor I use. I mean, I definitely think AI has a time and place. I think the context matters a lot. I think a lot of developers right now are between a rock and a hard place where, they work for companies whose management has largely been sold on the holy grail that is AI, and so, they have to do what they can to get by, right, and to advance their careers and continue to earn more money. And I would never throw any shade their way for having to do that, And I'm just trying to use AI where it suits me best and where I feel like it benefits me best. And right now, I feel good with the level of comfort and familiarity I have working with AI tools. I just don't want to work with them all the time. That's, if someone sat me down and was like, "Hey, we need you to use Claude Code to build something," I could do that. I mean, I don't have any doubt that I could do that. It's just whether or not like you want to do that, and if you're on the job and your employer says you have to do that, well, that's one thing. But when you're in your basement at home, in your free time, working on your own projects, you get to dictate how you do things. So let's do create default builder. So I guess this would be my entry point. Configure app configuration, which has the builder off of it. Host builder context, configuration builder. So I guess this is where I would wire up b.add secure config. Pretty sure that's what I wrote the extension off of. Public static. Yeah, configuration builder right there. So why do we not have, oh, I guess I probably need to bring this in. Secure dot configuration. And then I guess this is going to complain because it doesn't. Why isn't it showing up? I have a reference, don't I? Oh, actually, hold on. I know why it's not, because that's still the wrong namespace. It's it just is secure. Yeah, there we go. Add secure. There we go. Like this. Now this takes a configuration, so this is where we would do something like not like that. And then instead of this, we would do action secure config builder. This is basically what I'm trying to recreate in the test, but I'm exploring the API that I built in an actual console application, so I can sort of let's just do builder. So I can see if this all fits together the way it should. And then this needs to be secure configuration. Okay, and then we'll pass in configure. And this goes away. This goes away. That goes away. This can stay. I think this can stay. This right here needs to become configure services. Yeah, this needs to go away too. This will become bar builder. No, sorry, not builder. Configure services. And then what does this take? This takes a configure delegate, which again is going to have an unused context, and then our services, like that. Anybody else watch the Primeagen stream today with him and TJ learning SQL? I feel like when I used to build web apps with the help of AI, I wouldn't learn anything. Yeah, I think that's why AI, the context is so important, right? Like if your purpose is just to like be productive, like like I saw a tweet the other day. I think it was from Dax on Twitter, like where he said something to the effect of like pre-AI principles with post-AI speed is pretty unbeatable. And I think I agree with that. Like if you already have learned your craft and you want to leverage AI to like supercharge your productivity, um, that's great, right? Like go for it. If you want to like sit down and learn something new, I don't think AI has much of a place there as it does in other contexts. So I think that's why it's important just to not throw the baby out with the bathwater. AI isn't. I mean, AI has some AI has some larger ethical and moral and societal level issues, but like in terms of just like individual developer usage, I think it's like you can't be anti AI or only AI. The truth, I think, or the right place is like somewhere in the middle. I think a lot of people are just very anxious about AI taking their jobs, and so they are spending a lot of time kind of perseverating on it. What does this want me to do? I think this wants me to use a lambda. I guess we could, but I'm not going to right now. Okay. And this would be secure config. Excuse me. Where does that come from? Secure config. This should not be an internal interface. This should be public. I think I made it internal so I didn't have to add XML comments to it, but it should be public. I think secure config should probably be well, I guess they can probably implement their own. Oh no, I'm getting distracted, but this needs to now have XML comments. Summary. I'm just gonna has badly formed. Oh yeah, damn it. We'll come back and fill these in later. I get on my PC at midnight my time and Steven is streaming. Hey Lorenz boss, good to see you. Yeah, this is unusual stream time for me, but I'm here, you know? I'm here. Alright, now everyone's happy. Guess we don't need this. We will need to do our builder here. So builder dot use JSON file storage. And then this will need the default. We'll do new. Call is ambiguous. New JSON storage options. And then off this, we can also chain so in most cases, if someone's building an AOT app, they're going to need to provide the context. So let's go down to the program and let's define. Actually, let's do it over here. So we'll say JSON context. Actually, I'm going to call it app JSON context. And this will be a namespace of whatever the hell folder directory we're in. It's a really long one. It's like it's way too long. Like that sample. And then this will be an internal partial class. And this is a app JSON context, which inherits from JSON serializer context. So this is how you support JSON serialization in an AOT context in .NET. So we'll be using system.text.json.metadata as what is it? Serialization.metadata. I think. Nope. Is it just .text? Or is it just .serialization? There we go. And then we'll want to do JSON serializable type of, and in this case we need to do our options. That will need to be built before it recognizes that it's not an error. And then here what we can do is then we can do app JW or JC. Sorry, I don't know where my head went. JWT JSON context.default like that. And I think if we build this, it should then source generate that context, hopefully. Yep, there we go. So now if we go back here, this should now be happy. Still doesn't recognize it. So LSP info or LSP restart OmniSharp. Dude, I set up image. I set up this this self-hosted image library that one of my fellow chatters wrote a blog post about. It's awesome. You should set one up yourself if you have the storage. But this thing has been spending like all day backing up my iCloud storage. And in the last 24 hours, this thing has synced 788 gigs. I've been actually like super impressed. Like, it is so cool the kind of software out there that you can get to self-host services like this. Here's the. I'm gonna link their website real quick. Self-host. It's called image.app. I'm guessing other people have heard of it. It's pretty cool. Good to see you, Kate. Let's see. This is a really cool service to self-host. All right. I don't know why this is not picking up. Let's see. Does not implement. So it doesn't need to. It doesn't need to. It should source generate it. This is one of those NeoVim.NET things that it's just not quite playing well together. It's unfortunate. in any event, we should be also to say builder. We'll say with machine key, machine ID. Oh. And then we can say with AES crypto provider. And that should be everything we need to store it in an encrypted file in JSON on disk. Then this is going to fail. So if we try to run this right now, this is going to fail. So if we go to .NET run project source secure config sample. Okay, it did not fail. All right, that's good. But let's look at our bin folder. There should be a file in here called, secure config. And now it's got this encrypted value in it. Okay, this is exactly what I want. Now the question is, okay, so why did it fail? Well, if it didn't fail because whenever we requested an options of API options, we got one of those things, but the default value of the API key is empty, and there was nothing in the configuration to bind to. So we should be able to do something like let's see, app dot services, no. So I think what we want to do is we want to do see, this is I think one of the gaps in my logic is, or I mean, maybe it's not a gap. I guess it just assumes that all your configuration is going to happen programmatically, and you're not going to have any existing configuration. You're only going to build it up. So I'm curious, if I rerun this again, since there's already a file there. No. And I guess that's because yeah, now I'm kind of like second guessing my whole idea behind this. Not the whole idea, but now I'm kind of seeing the flaws in my thinking. Okay, I'm at work at the moment. I'm ready to go home. I'm so tired. Well, I'm not jealous of you. Sorry, I just popped in. Are you only encrypting it at rest? Yes, we are encrypting it at rest. Yeah, in the application itself, we're decrypting it at time of use. Good to see you, Butterscotch. Yeah, that's kind of the whole point. That's kind of like the whole point of the library, is just to make it super easy to store configuration values on disk, or really anywhere, I guess, in an encrypted way. I mean, I'm sure somebody out there is going to say, I've said this a few different times on stream, somebody out there is going to be like, well, if they can get to your configuration file on your local machine, right, you're kind of already hosed. But I feel like if I build an easy way to do it, there, why not? Butterscotch, nothing, just building academic project, a small scale mem cache. Oh, yeah, that sounds pretty intense. uh, it sounds pretty intense. Sounds more complicated than what I'm doing. Uh, so if I did, what if I did this? What if I do? I just want to see if I can get this working. So what if I did? Well, honestly though, it should work. It's a loud noise up above me. So there's my API options. Those are going to be deserialized back into the actual strong type. This should get loaded though. I'm curious. I'm going to do this in VS Code. Actually, hold on. I think I should be able to do this in... I actually don't know. I'm going to just do it in VS Code. User, all of this is a scam. Everything, as Cadence Owen says, is fake and gay. Well, that's an easy ban right there. Step right up, user, blah, 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 blah. What an asshole. Where is he? Why can't I see him? Huh. I don't see him on my Butterscotch. What are you building, by the way? I am building a way to make it easy to do encryption and decryption of app settings for just really any .NET application. Why can't I see that guy? I'm not sure why. Top chat, maybe?
Did we just become best friends?
There we go. Now I see him. Thank you very much, man, for the follow over there on Twitch. Was that where it was? Sorry, I wasn't paying attention. I was trying to ban this asshole. Let's see. Remove, report. How do you do this? Put user. No. There we go. All right. So what are we going to do in VS Code? We're going to try to debug this. Let's see. Let's go to my sample. We go here. Okay, I guess we can add it now. Do .NET SLN add source. Solution folder source already contains a project with the file name. What does that even mean, bro? I'm so confused. Solution folder source, okay, already contains a project with the file name Stephen Freeborn extensions .configuration.secure. I don't know why I'm getting that error. To Google we go. Solution folder already contains a project with file name. There is a naming conflict between the new project and an existing project hidden folder or solution level item. Okay. I don't see. So we have this guy. We have this guy, secure.sample. We have this guy. So I don't understand. Let's see, .NET clean. .NET solution and this is so frustrating. Why does stuff come up with like this, right? When you're trying to make headway on something. All these paths look right to me. I guess I'm gonna just remove everything, start over. .NET SLN add. Okay. Let's see, .NET SLN remove. So that added 2 projects. But I don't know why it added 2 projects. I guess because it has a dependency. I guess. I honestly don't know. So now let's try to add the test project. .NET test. .NET test. Is it because I'm not specifying the whole project? I think it's because it's trying to add all of the dependencies for the test project, but the dependency is already present. I wonder if this is a .NET. I wonder if this is a .NET 11 bug. Let's try to use, let's see, CP global. What was the SDKs? There were these. That's gonna break my it's gonna break my test project. Oh no, it's not. I'm using .NET 10. Okay, so I wonder if that is a whoops, not what I wanted to do. Error. The current .NET SDK does not support targeting .NET 11. Either target .NET 10 or lower. Use a version of the who is still targeting .NET 11? Oh yeah, that's my .NET build. Curse code, I promise. Had to talk to someone. So you're encrypting it at rest, but not in transit. Curse code. Yeah. So I guess I'm not sending it anywhere. It's just staying in my application. So when I read it from the disk, I'll read it encrypted, and then when I use it in my application, it'll be decrypted. Let's see. What was I doing? Oh yeah, I was gonna try to do this. SLN add. Okay, I think that's a .NET 11 bug. Let's see if that's let's see, .NET 11. Let's see if they have that on their GitHub issues. .NET GitHub. I wonder if there could actually be an updated version. I wonder of preview. Let's do winget search .NET.SDK.preview. Wonder if they already have a patch for it. .NET platform. That's the runtime. Adding project. Closed. So that's 11. What's the preview on that? Can't see the version. 2 preview 2. Let's see. I have .NET. Nope, that's the right one. Huh. Okay, let me just to verify. Let's remove that .NET SLN. Remove. And let's remove the test. Okay, and then let's switch the .NET version back to the latest, which is 11, whatever, whatever that big long version string is. And we'll set that back here. And then let's try to add it again. Yeah, there's definitely something funky there. I wonder, I don't want to file a bug if they've already fixed it. Let's see, .NET SLN add bug. No. What's the error message? RA already contains a project. Add VMR wide CPM. Let's see. Adds a test that scans all repo. For each repo under source, the test finds is implicitly defined true. Verifies they don't have matching package version entries. Huh. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm half tempted to file a bug, but I honestly don't want to. Let's do, let's make their minimal add project to solution issue repo. That's not what I wanted to call it. Repro. Okay, .NET -list SDK. And then let's make two different directories here. Let's make directory net 10. Let's make directory net 11. And let's cd into net 10. Let's make a global .json here. Actually, let's remove that. Let's copy the global from here to there. We'll do the same thing in net 11. Whoops. CP. And then now we can do neovent. Do I stream and code on the PC? Yes, I do. Yeah, I just have a single PC. Maybe one of these days when I'm successful, I can have multiple PCs. It's just so expensive, man. Everything's expensive. When you got 2 kids and a wife, you know, the money don't go quite as far as you'd like it. Let's see. This is gonna be. I guess we just need to get the 10 that we have installed here. I wasn't sure what you're working on. I have the mind of a goldfish. No, it's just like, it's this problem that keeps coming up whenever I'm building CLIs or I'm building anything that has to do with, like, particularly whenever I have to put something in the app settings.json file. I always feel like, okay, it's probably fine. It's just on my machine. It's probably fine if I have an API key in that settings file that's plain text. But it would probably be best practices if that API key was encrypted while it was sitting in that file. And so I'm just trying, and so I've done that in several applications, and so I'm just trying to extract that logic to like a little shared library that I can reuse. Okay, and then now let's build a some minimal reproduction. So we'll do this. We'll say .NET new .NET new SLN. Okay, and then we'll go back here to .NET 11, .NET new SLN. Okay, and then we'll make a direct, let's just do .NET new console out, where we don't need a console, class lib, out source, and then we can do class lib. .NET new test class lib.test. Cool. And we'll do the same thing in net 10. So we'll do and maybe this is how it's supposed to behave now. That's the thing, is like after I do this, maybe I need to go do a little bit of research to verify that this isn't some intended behavior change, but it definitely seems odd to me. Let's see, .NET new class lib source. And then test. So just to kind of verify, if I do .NET SLN add and I add the source project, oops, I add the source project first, and then I do .NET SLN and add the test project, everyone's fine. But if I do the same thing in 11, I think this should error. If it doesn't error, then there's just something wrong with my project. And there's just something wrong with my project, I guess. Okay, so why does it... Well, hold on. Let me make sure. Yeah. Okay, so there's just something wrong with my project. Well, shit. Fuck. Okay, I don't know what's wrong with it though. Is it the folder path is the same? No, it's not the folder path. Oh, I know. Hold on. Sorry. I know why I didn't. I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy. They're crazy. I'm not crazy. They're crazy. It's because I didn't reference the class library from the test that was the missing step. So do that, remove. I'm not crazy, they're crazy. Do you stream or crazy? I was crazy once. I have those moments a lot at work where I think something was working and then I go back and retest it and it's not working, or vice versa, and I feel like I have to question reality multiple times a week. Okay, so in order to reproduce this behavior, what we have to do is first we have to add a reference from the test project to the source. So that's where we say .NET add go to the test project, add a reference back to the source project like this. Then try to add the class library as to the solution. Then add the test project to the solution. Okay, everyone's happy. Now if I do the same thing in 11, where let's remove everything from the solution. So solution, remove source class .NET solution, remove test class lib test. Now we'll add a reference like that. Okay, now what should happen is when I do add .NET add. Now when I try to add the test, don't make me a liar. Yeah, see, now it errors. So there's something about the fact that when the test project holds a reference to the source project and you've already added the class lib, it doesn't like that. And that feels like a breaking change. Now I want to go like try to come through the .NET SDK and figure out why that's like that. So let's do .NET SLN, remove try and hella optimizations for C, but I think I hit a dead end for now. Well, you're out there in a land where I am of no use to you. I wish I could be of use. Alright, I'm just gonna add a little readme. Production steps. I guess one CD, or actually we can just pretty much do this all with command lines. Let's see, .NET 10 behavior. And then this is .NET 11 behavior. Why does this happen? I don't know. I think one of my kids is down here. I felt somebody in the room. Kaka, is that you? Yeah. Scared me. I felt like I felt another human's presence, but I wasn't sure who it was. See you, KNCP. Have a good day. Thanks for keeping me company for a little bit. Appreciate you. So I guess the first thing is you CD to .NET 10. I need to open up another terminal. CD net 10. Then .NET SL .NET SLN add source class lib. right? That outputs this. And then .NET SLN add test class with .test. That works. But here we get something different. So it's kind of similar, but the second command ends in a failure. Instead of this, we get something completely different. So we do cd cd into net 11. Cat the proj file. Nothing's in there. We'll do .NET SLN, add that. .NET SLN, add test. Yeah. Like I said, maybe this is expected behavior now in 11 that I'm not aware of the change. See, it almost looks like it was added, doesn't it? But it behaves like it's not. Yeah, see? That definitely feels wrong, doesn't it? Yeah. Yeah, that feels wrong to me. Some sort of regression or something. Who knows? Maybe I'm completely wrong. All right, that little side quest is over. I'll do a little bit more research before I file a bug or anything, but I at least wanted to stop for a second there. Now I feel less insane. Because I was feeling a little insane there for a second. So now I can do .NET SLN tests, and this should work now. Well, it should. Did I change my... Oh, yep. Put that back. This needs to be 10. .NET -- list. We want this guy. Put this over here. Hey, there we go. Now we're all one big happy solution. See you, debug. Have a good day, man. What advice would you give to devs that are stuck in tutorial hell? I think you got to get out and build, man. You got to build stuff. You know, like for example, like what I'm building right here, right? It's like I've never built a configuration provider or anything like this before for .NET, and I'm just stumbling my way through it. You know, I'm iterating my way. Like, here's the code that I want to be able to write in my own applications, and then I'm just kind of like walking backwards into that API and figuring out what I don't know and looking up what I have questions about. And that is where you really grow, because that's those are the real kinds of problems you're eventually going to have to solve, where somebody's not just going to hand you a checklist that says, here's exactly where to look for the answer, and here's all the problems, and here's all the places where you're going to stub your toe, and here's what to do when you do stub your toe. Because the real skills are being able to figure out, okay, I'm stuck. How do I get unstuck? Or, okay, I have an issue. How do I break this issue down into smaller problems and try to iteratively solve the bigger problem? And none of that happens during a tutorial, because a tutorial is somebody has already sat down and they've already figured it out A to Z, right? And AI makes it even more difficult to do that nowadays, because now you have this thing that's constantly in the back of your mind going, well, I could just ask Claude Code. Well, I could just ask Gemini. I could just ask, you know what I mean? And so now it's even harder to get out of tutorial hell, because you can actually now, in a lot of ways, AI can recreate tutorial hell for you, right? Where you feel like you know a lot, and then someone pulls AI or an LLM out from under you, and you're like, oh shit. How do I do any of this? Which people have pushed back on me for saying that, because they say, well, that's stupid. You're always going to have access to a large language model now, so it doesn't matter. And I guess that's somewhat true, but I'll tell you, it sure does feel good knowing that if someone took away my large language model, I wouldn't be hosed. I could still do this stuff, So that's my only real piece of advice to get out of it. Just get out there and build, solve problems that you never solved before, that no one's talked to you about solving before. I mean, they don't have to be brand new problems. They just have to be new to you, What was I doing? Oh, okay. So what I want to try to do is I want to try to figure out. Yeah, so we'll do it in here. So let's do it in here. Let's say b dot add in memory collection, right? And let's add a new dictionary of type string. Or maybe actually let's do type object. So that way we can come down here. That's actually not what I want. It's actually not what I want. What I want is, when my application bootstraps, I want this call right here to load from disk what's already present, which right now there should be a file there. I guess in 10 there should be a file. There's not right now. Okay, so we need to do that. So let's do .NET run. Okay, so now that that's run, there should be a file here. There it is, secure config. Now the expectation should be I think the reason why it's not happening is because we would have to do something like this. We'd have to say s.configure configure options, and we'd have to say API options, and then we'd have to bind it. Let's see, configure options. How's that work? Where's the configure options section? Post configuration scenario enables setting or changing options after iConfiguration occurs. Where in T options. Okay. So let's try that. No iConfigure options, post configure options. Okay. So that's because I haven't implemented. So this would be where you'd want to say configure. And then you have to give it a name. So you have to say, this is where we need the context, I think. To come up here and say context and do context dot configuration dot get section, and the name of that section will be API options.
Did we just become best friends?
Hono, I think, is that how you say your name? Hono? Thank you very much for the follow over there on Twitch. Hono is my favorite JavaScript framework. I guess server side, backend. Where did my... Why can't I see who just followed? That's stream elements. There we go. Now let's try to run this again. So hopefully this time we actually see a value. That's it. Right there. So basically what's happening is, so it works. So basically it works. This works. I thought I had written this. Tyler? Do you need me? Oh, sorry, I thought you were calling my name. So basically this works the way I thought it would. I just hadn't wired things up properly. So what happens is my application on boot finds secure config JSON. It loads this up. It resolves this as a section. It then decrypts this encrypted value, which is going to be the shape of a API options type in my application. Say, let's change it to, I don't know. Let's just change it to like some bullshit. I don't know. I like profanity. If we run this again, okay, so there's a problem because that shouldn't be happening. So this should have written this value into that file, and it did not. Or did it? Yeah, it did. Okay, so it is working. Now the part that I want to, so the whole thing I'm trying to accomplish tonight is the fact that this options value is only loaded once at the time that you run your application. This secure config does allow you to do this. You can say updated value equals await secure config dot get And you can do name of API options, right? And we need to give it a type, that. And so we can say console.writeLine, updated value dot API key, that. And let's change this to I was changed. So the expectation I have is the first time this runs, this should say some bullshit. Then we should update the value. Then we retrieve the updated value, and then we write it out, right? Okay. So that was the original value we set for the API key. Then we retrieved it, and we printed the updated that we wrote. The problem here is that the options value is not going to change. So if we print this options value again, this is not going to change, and that's
average underscore person 32 is reminding you to hydrate.
Oh, hold on, I gotta get my water. That's expected behavior, and we're gonna fix it. Okay. I trust you, just be careful. I am trapped. Good afternoon. Good to see you, sir. Average person. Hey, what's your opinion on seniors not being capable of solving leak code? We had a hiring process for a senior role, and the best grade so far through over 20 candidates was 40% on CoderByte. I would probably fail. I would probably be one of the people that fail. I mean, I can solve any problem, but it's going to take me a little bit of time. So I probably could solve most leak code problems, but I couldn't probably solve them in 15 minutes, 30 minutes, right? I just don't practice solving leak code problems, so I'm kind of shitty at it. I solved all of the advent of code for 2025, so I am confident I can solve complex algorithmic data structure problems. I just don't optimize for it. Damn, Steven, how's life? Life's good. I'm trapped. It's nice to see you. For some reason, I come across your streams and I can't sleep. Well, maybe they'll help you fall asleep then. Okay. We're making progress. We're finally on the move. It wasn't even a timed problem. Not like this. Not like this. Not like this. So I guess I don't know, man. I think it all depends on what you value. If you really do value leak code and you think it's a proxy for someone's capabilities. Oh, that's hilarious. I need to fix that and figure out how to represent emotes in my little term chat app. Yeah, I think it just comes down to how much you value leak code. If you think leak code's really valuable and a good proxy for someone's ability, then go for it. I personally, if I was interviewing a developer, I don't really care about your ability to leak code. I just want to sit down and have a conversation with you about your experience programming, things that you built, things that you've done, things that you're interested in. I think you hold a conversation with someone long enough about programming and coding, I think they're going to reveal themselves relatively quickly where the edges of their knowledge are. And hopefully someone's very upfront about that too. Hopefully someone's very honest about it. When you do ask them something they don't know, they don't try to bullshit their way through it. Bob, drinking from the corporate water bottle? I am. It was the closest one to me. I ran out the room to find a container to hydrate with. Yeah. I guess this is a good time for me to put in the disclaimer. Nothing I do here on stream is a reflection of my employer or their opinions. All opinions are my own. All right, let's change this to I was changed again. All right, so this value should print the same each time. So let me add, I'm going to add some text here just to make this clear to myself. Right, so we can say options and then we can say this was retrieved from so this was actually retrieved from the actual config, because this get async call actually retrieves it from disk and decrypts it and then hands it back, which is why it's up to date, because it's actually getting what's on disk. I don't know why I have a $sign in there. It's like I'm writing JavaScript. The same thing here, options. Ugh. Come on. There we go. Another run through here. So two values should be the same, one should be different. So ideally, so this is correct behavior. This right here is expected. What we'd like to do is we would like the ability to have different values. So if I said instead of getting an I options, I got a var options snapshot, I think is what you call it, equals app.services.get required service I options snapshot. So this right here should be reloaded within every scope. And so this will be the first thing we will try to implement. So let's do I options snapshot. See if we I think if we can get this working, the other one will just work. Okay, now the key here is when we resolve the I options is scoped, I think. So we'll have to create our own scope. Let's see, when you use to access the value of T options for the lifetime of a request. So I'm pretty sure I options scope. So if we change, let's change I options to be I options snapshot. Oh my goodness, it's already 6 o'clock. Gosh dang, man. So iOptions is a scoped class. So if let's set up a little playground experiment real quick where we will get a scope here. We'll say var first scope equals scope factory equals app.services get required service. This is I scope this. And then we'll say var first scope equals scope factory dot create scope. And then we'll say var options snapshot equals first scope dot get required service. Let's actually just copy all this up here. I can't believe that this is the way people don't enjoy programming. Let's see, first options snapshot. Yes, that's what we want. So let's move this up here. Now, the first snapshot, let's say this is 1, like that. Now, if we do this again, and we say this is after the write, this should behave very similar to how this updated value does. Because now this scope is happening after we've changed it on disk. So it should reference whatever is on disk now. Second snapshot. Second scope. Obviously, this is not going to work. Oh, they're all the same. So they're all the I was changed right now. So we have to update this. So this should be I guess let's just make this let's just generate a random GUID. .toString. So I don't have to keep coming up with random shit to create the key. Okay. So you can see this first snapshot was I was changed. Then the updated value is this random GUID, but you can see I option still is I was changed. That's expected. That only gets loaded once at the beginning of the application. It will never change. This one down here should be different. So now we need to go digging to figure out how do we trigger the change. So I configuration source trigger change. Let's see, custom provider on reload. So there must be an on reload method. Config provider. Yeah, see right there, on reload. So what we need to do is we need to subscribe what is that? On reload. It's a method. Triggers the on reload change token and creates a new one. So somehow, whenever we write to the disk, whether we're setting or we're deleting, we need to trigger the reload. See, inside a custom configuration provider, source changed, change token, register a callback on I configuration, get reload token to execute code whenever a change occurs. Here we go. This is exactly what we're doing. How to create custom configuration providers in .NET. Load and exposes key values. So I have all of those components already defined. Doesn't .NET have like a file system watcher that we could use for this? Yeah. I think that'll work. Hope you and the family are good, man. I'm doing good. Good to see you, Jonathan Mitchell. Justin the Heck, Steven streaming in the PM. How we doing, party people? Yeah, my stream schedule's been kind of screwed up lately because of some storms that have been happening at night here. So we've been sleeping in the basement, and the place where I stream, my office is in the basement. So I don't want to wake everybody. I don't want to wake everybody up, you know. But hopefully the bad weather is going to come to an end here pretty soon. All right, so I think the first thing I need to do is I need to go to my secure storage provider, this guy. And specifically, I need to go to no, this is storage, sorry. I secure storage provider. So this is the guy that's responsible for doing all the reading, the writing from wherever your destination is. In my case, I'm specifically talking to a JSON file, but somebody could implement this against SQLite or whatever other persistence they would want to use. And so what we want to expose here is basically an event handler. So we can say event handler, and we'll say storage change. How about that? And then we need to provide some XML comments because this is public. And then our providers, our actual concrete guys, are going to need to actually do something with that. All right, so let's implement it. I think we're going to also have to go to a, we can't use a primary constructor for this anymore, I don't think. Chill Gamers, what was I going to say today? Oh yeah, I downloaded a game called Race Room. It's basically super realistic, like handling wise. Nice, well good for you, man. I have not played very many video games recently. I would like to play more. Just haven't been making time for it. We're going to have to go to a public JSON file storage provider. So we're basically going to take this guy. We're going to put it in here. We can get rid of this param. Get rid of this. these are going to have to go inside the constructor method. Get rid of that. Pull this in here. We're going to do the assignment inside the constructor now, like this. How to get rid of all this stuff. Oh, the file lock can stay. The file lock can stay. This guy can't. This guy has to come in. Like that. Like this. Alright, there's still an issue. No, we're not going to use a primary constructor. Non-nullable event, store chain, we're going to fix that. Missing XML comments, this should just be, I guess we can just inherit the doc. Sorry to hear that about your fam. Hoping you all stay safe. Yeah, we'll be safe. Yeah, we're fine. We got a big basement. That was the main reason we actually moved to this house. We moved here in September after living. I mean, we've always lived in the Midwest, so we're used to tornadoes and stuff. But our last place we lived in was like a apartment type situation, and it didn't have a tornado. It didn't have a basement or really anywhere that was kind of safe to go. So we moved here because it's got a big basement. We can just hide out down there when there's bad weather. And so then here what we can do is we can say directory equals path dot get directory name. And then we'll be able to say if string dot is null or white space directory is false and that directory does in fact exist, then we're going to watch it. Dot exists. Like that. And so that's where we'll need to add a private, oops. I don't think I've ever used this before. This is the first time I've ever had reason to use the file system watcher. Let's call it a watcher. And so it can be nullable potentially. And I guess the storage change could be nullable too if we don't have a directory to watch, which we should always have a directory to watch in this case. But so we'll say new. And we're going to do notify filter, I think. That's what that API showed. Where was it? File system watcher. Notify filter. So let's see what the filters are that we can work with here. Equals notify filters dot last write. What else? Notify dot last access. The security settings of the file or folder. No, I think that's it. Just last access. No, last write. Sorry, last write. Let's see. Enable raising events equals true. True if the component is enabled. Otherwise false. The default is false. If you're using the component on the designer in Visual Studio 25, the default is true. And then we're going to need to do, this is where we're going to need to subscribe to like something has happened. do something. I don't know what yet. We're going to need to do something like that. And then this, the watcher, needs to actually watch the directory, and then it needs to watch options, specifically file name. I think it's going to work. I think it's going to work. Famous last words. Famous last words. We also, disposable. We're going to need to do some stuff here in the dispose method. This is probably where we'll have to unsubscribe from the watcher. What happened? Whoa, loud freight train. Did it get loud? Or are you or something happened in your life and you're just putting it into chat? The other thing we might want to do here, I think I saw the name of the file. That shouldn't change. The date of the file before the last has anything written to it. No. Creation time. No. Directory name. No. I think the size might be a good. Modify filters dot size. And then the watcher. So now we need a method to handle, like, what do we do when the file changes, right? And I think we'll call it, let's actually put it at the bottom of the file. Also, this does not need a comment. This doesn't either. Those are internal methods. Okay, and then let's add a private down here. Let's actually move the dispose call above the private methods. This would be cool if we can get this working. So we'll do private void on file changed. And of course, this is, man, it's been forever since I've done any event-based programming in .NET. So we need an object, that's our sender. Then we'll need file system event args. And this is what we're going to subscribe up above to. So we'll say watcher dot on changed. Yeah, changed. On file changed. Okay, and then we need to dispose of it. So we'll do watcher dot dispose. Assuming it's not null. But I think we also need to. Do we need to unsubscribe? I guess when the watcher probably gets disposed, it will take care of. Oh, whoops, I put that in the wrong way. Put that here. Whoopsies. Okay. I think that looks good. The only thing is, like, what if we write to this file? Like what if somebody changes a bunch of values in a row in the file? We probably want a way to say like don't emit an event every single, like we probably want some sort of timeout or debounce. So let's implement that. So I guess what's the best way to, probably with a timer, yeah. So let's add a private read-only timer. Could be nullable. Call it a debounce timer. And then the first time we'll dispose of it if there is one. Otherwise, we will set it to a new value. And we will say the callback is where we're going to emit the storage changed .invoke, and we'll give it the event args. Why are you mad? Let's see, a read-only field. Oh, yep, you're right. Can't be read-only. What was I thinking?
I'd like to say something.
The Atari Neovim script has been a success.
Hold on, you put Atari in Neovim? What? No way. So what does that look like? You want to share that with the... Good to see you, Poopin' Pigeon. What are you making again? I am making a... right now what I'm doing is I'm implementing the ability to reload the configuration from an encrypted file that is on disk whenever that file changes, is what I'm doing right now. Oh wow, my computer just like locked up. That was weird. I think my streams are still connected, but man, everything on my end like froze for a second. That was weird. It just redirects to the executable. Nice. Found a terminal Atari emulator. Huh. That's wild. Well, you know, I mean, when you got an itch, you gotta scratch it, man. What, you know, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Okay. I don't know if this is the best way of doing this. I don't know if this is the best way to do this. I honestly don't know if I even need to do that. I guess let's ask the internet. Let's see. Do you, in .NET, do you need to debounce the file system watcher. Yes, you generally need to debounce the file system watcher into .NET because a single logical action like saving a file often triggers multiple physical events in rapid succession. Let's see, timer-based wait. The most common approach involves using a system.timers.timer or task.delay to wait for a quiet period after the last event before executing the handler. So I think probably 250 is probably fine, but 500 milliseconds is probably more than plenty. I don't know. I honestly don't know. Seems like this could be a problem, but probably not. Famous last words. All right, so then up here at our JSON file store, so we're in our JSON file store. So now in our secure configuration provider, this is where we actually need to add a we're gonna have to change this to be a. This is where we have to call. We have somewhere in here we have to call on reload somewhere in here. On reload. And I guess what we'll do is the storage provider that we get passed should now have storage provider dot, so it has an event that we can now hook into where we should be able to call something. So I say we add a private method down below here that's something like private handle storage changed. This has an object as always. This has our event args. And then in here, we will do our stuff. So we'll call load again so that we can do the encryption and decryption, and then we'll just say on reload. And then we should implement iDisposable because, well, I'll show you why here in a second. We're gonna do public secure config provider. And we're going to take all of this stuff that we're doing here. We're going to put it there. Obviously that's going to be angry for a second until we remove that. Take that there. We have to do all this assignment logic in here now. I tell you what, primary constructors really are great until you need to do something beyond just assigning stuff, you know, to fields, and then all of a sudden you gotta do all this work to refactor out of it. Okay, and then we need to remove these guys because they don't exist in that scope anymore. You know, scripting for me is like so hard. Like, I'll do a script, then one number will be wrong, and my object will fly into space. I guess just do more of it so you don't suck at it anymore. That's my only advice. It's such shitty advice too, but it's the only advice I have to offer. Just do it till you don't suck at it anymore. So then here we can go storage provider dot storage change. We'll register our handler. Handle storage storage changed. Why? Oh, yeah. And then we'll do public void I dispose of, or sorry, public void dispose. And the reason why we need to dispose is so that we can deregister the caller whenever this gets cleaned up. So we can do, not add another one. There we go. Why is this not asking for... Oh, it's internal. The name handle storage changed. What are you talking about? Yeah, it does. Handle. Oh, I didn't spell it right. Classic. So the one thing I'm not totally clear about in this approach is whether or not that file change happens quickly enough. So that's the one thing I'm kind of uncertain about. But let's go ahead and run this. See what happens. So the idea should be that whenever we get the second scope, snapshots should use whatever is on disk. So let's see what happens. All right, so it was this, right? And then we changed it to this. That remained the same. And this one did too. Well, Well, that did not work the way I envisioned it to. What if we don't debounce it? So what if we just do JSON file storage provider? What if we just do this? Dot invoke. So you can kind of see how the flow works, right? We're invoking that storage change handler, which we registered a handler, which was the load and then reload from the provider. And so that's being invoked down here in the storage provider. I wonder... Yeah, see, this is not changing. What if I add a delay? Is it just a timing, maybe? A timing thing? It's either that or I don't understand how iOption snapshot gets triggered to get updated. Because I am creating two different scopes. So theoretically, these should be... Let's add a little bit of a delay. Let's do a delay a second. No, that's still the only one that changed is the one that we got directly from the config. Let's see. iOptions snapshot. How to trigger update. It's recomputed once per request or DI scope. Because it is a scope service, you do not manually trigger it in the middle of a request. Instead, the update is triggered by the start of a new request. Let's see. Enable your configuration provider must be configured to watch for changes. This is the default behavior in modern ASP.NET Core templates. If you are manually building configuration, ensure reload on change is true. Okay. So maybe I need to figure out reload on change. So let's see. Let's see how .NET does it in their source code. Add JSON file. This is the JSON file configuration is largely what I'm modeling this after. So let's see how this works. So builder, add your config source. Builder, add config source, add JSON file. Add JSON file, add JSON file. So file provider, cool. Path, reload on change. So where does this come from? Reload on change comes from file configuration source. And file configuration source implements iConfiguration. Oh shit, should I be using this? Damn it. Should this be what I'm using? I wonder if I just spend a bunch of time reinventing the wheel. Gets or sets a value that indicates whether the source will be loaded if the underlying file changes. Well, I guess I'm not terribly far off from I guess where does this get actually implemented? Does anybody actually implement this guy? No? Does anyone reference this property anywhere? Let's see, configuration. This is in Kestrel. Kestrel configuration loader. If reload on change, loaded equals true. Otherwise it calls reload. So what does reload do? If reload on change, get reload token. Okay, what is the reload token? Get reload token. Configuration, get reload token. Var config token. Configuration.get reload token. If certificate path watcher is null, return the config token. Otherwise, certificate path watcher get change token. Okay, so I'm missing some piece of this puzzle then. Where did that article go that we had? I have misplaced it. On chain, I'm gonna have to do a little bit of research here because I'm not sure I'm using the file watcher correctly, but I'm also not 100% certain I have the reload thing figured out for the configuration provider. Watcher change types. What is that? What hangs off those? Sorry, now I'm blocking chat. There's a difference between reinventing the wheel and learning how wheels are made. Maybe I've been accused of reinventing the wheel too much. Well, after doing this, I definitely know more about how the configuration works in .NET than I knew before, which is good. But now I'm looking at this JSON file and I'm wondering maybe I should have looked at that source code first and backed into my implementation from that source code, since it seems to take care of the underlying file. And I'm just trying to really change how that file gets read and stored. I don't really know if it gives me enough hooks to do that. I guess I'd have to do some research. Huh. Let's see if the internet has custom configuration provider. Here we go. Reload on change. Let's see. Trigger the reload provider. To enable reloading, your custom class must inherit from configuration provider and utilize the onReload method. Implement change detection. Since custom providers don't have built-in watchers like the JSON file provider, you must implement your own. Use a background timer or task to periodically query the source. Listen for an event from an external observer or service that signals a data update. And then consume updates. All right, let's see if we can force this to work then. Let's see. I'm just going to see if I can force it. So we're going to do var config equals app dot services dot get required service, get the I configuration. We have to bring that in, and then do config.re. Does that not have a reload on it? cast your iConfiguration to an iConfiguration root and call reload. iConfiguration root. And then say config.reload. Let's see if this blows up in my face. It's already 7 o'clock. I still have to go upstairs and cook some chicken. No, that still didn't force it to change, so it makes me think there's something else I'm doing wrong. I did create separate scopes. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I've done. A refreshable SQL Server configuration. Let's see what these guys did. Alright, so they got their loader. They're loading from their SQL. That's cool. Wonderful. But then how do they get it to reload? Yep, did all that, did all that. Wonderful. Okay, reload the configuration. As you know, iOptions-T does not reload configurations automatically. It just read once from data, caches it for the entire lifetime of your application. To reload data, we can use something called iChangeToken. Using iChangeToken, we can watch something is changed, and in the change event of the iChangeToken, we can call a callback. Here, we want to reload data from the database by just calling the load method again. Now in SQL Server class, we can use a utility method, change token on change, that accepts 2 delegates, one for creating a change token, and the second one for handling change event raised by that change token. Okay, so as you can see, we've defined how a token can be created. And the second argument we use load as a callback, which is called when the change token event is raised. And then now they have something called an iSQL Server Watcher. A simple implementation of iSQL Server Watcher is SQL Server Periodical Watcher. I just fire change event every refresh interval. This is an easy implementation, but for most scenarios it's fine. So he's doing the same thing I kind of did, but he's doing it with a change token. You can use your own implementation of iChangeToken. So where did he implement iChangeToken? I don't see. Watch. There you go. So it's watch. So whatever this is. Watch. Well, since my approach with the file watcher doesn't work, or at least my approach doesn't work right now, I'm wondering if I try his approach. Stuck I am. Oh, I found the source code for the JSON file though. So ensure defaults. So that's good. So maybe I can trace this. JSON configuration provider. Where are you? You're here. JSON configuration file parser.parse. File configuration provider. Is this a sealed? Oh, this is a public class. Damn, I wonder if... See, but I need to overload this. So I think I need to go a level lower. File configuration provider. This is a public abstract class. Oh, look, yeah. they use a change token too. And it looks like they just sleep on some reload delay of 250 milliseconds. That's funny. So can I inherit from this and then just... I don't think I can because this method's... Review. Should we raise this in the base as well instead? See, even they have questions. Load public. So they have a public that they're overriding. Can I override an overridden method? C#. Can I override an overridden method? So I'm kind of wondering if I can't just leverage this file configuration provider. Let's see if that shows up in my code here. Configure JSON file configuration provider. What does it implement? It implements a configuration provider. So where in my application, secure config provider, can I, instead of declaring this, can I say file configuration? I don't think so, huh? So it must not be public to me. File configuration provider, C#. Sorry. It is a public abstract class, and it exists in that namespace, but I have to bring in this package. Well, I might have some refactoring to do. That or I need to copy their change detection process from their source code. Where is it? Yeah, otherwise maybe I just need to copy this. Source.fileprovider.watch. File configuration source. So we have path, file provider, reload. All right, well, I gotta go upstairs. It's 7 o'clock. I gotta go upstairs and do some actual human duties and not just stream and write code 24/7. Morning, Kale. Good to see you. What time is this stream? This stream is currently happening at 7 o'clock p.m. Bob, bye, human. Yeah, I would much rather sit here and just continue to hack on this till I get it to work. Unfortunately, such is life, right? I don't know. I think there's weather again tonight, so it's likely I'll probably be streaming tomorrow sometime later in the day or later in the morning. I'll try to get on later in the morning, like 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock or something like that. But we'll see. We'll see how the day goes. I appreciate those of you guys who hung out. It was kind of a quiet stream. I know I ignored chat a lot of it and was just focused on writing code, but I appreciate you guys hanging out with me, keeping me company. Go, yeah, I went to bed, woke up, and you're streaming. You streaming tomorrow? Oh yeah, I'll be here tomorrow. I'll try to do a morning stream like normal. It won't be a 4 o'clock stream likely. It just depends on if there's weather or not. I think my wife told me this morning there was weather coming our way again, so we'll see. We'll see how it goes. You got lots of stream hours? Yeah, you got lots of stream hours. Plenty of stream hours. All right, folks. Well, I hope you all have a lovely rest of your Thursday. If it's Friday for you, I hope you have a kick-ass Friday. If you're new here and you want to come back in the future and hang out, I'll just drop my normal schedule. Like I said, my schedule's kind of out of whack at the moment, but that's normally when I stream. And then if you want to hang out in our Discord, we also have a Discord. You're welcome to join that. And if I figure out this file thing tomorrow or tonight, I'll probably work on this tonight later after the kids go to bed. But if I figure this out, I'll definitely keep you guys. I'll update you guys tomorrow. This is like the last piece of the puzzle. Actually, I say that, take that back. I realized that one of the issues with this library that I'm building is that all of the configuration, because the config is encrypted, is going to need to go through application code. So I think I'm going to need to create some sort of CLI tool probably that I can publish alongside the package that makes updating config. So there's probably more work to this than what I originally thought, but I'm having fun building it right now. And I still haven't got my first invoice from Plaid about the physical OS app, so I'm not ready to go back to that yet. Let me see, I was going to check my billing real quick. No invoice. Wonder how long it takes. I thought it would take like a month, but it feels like it's been longer than a month. All right, guys. Thanks for hanging out with me. I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, bye. Okay, bye. See you guys. Have a great day.